Quick, graph y equals 1 over the opposite of x by hand 2 different ways. Decide if the reciprocal function is even, odd, or neither. You will need graph paper or download this PDF and print it. Press pause as needed anytime during the video. First way is with the reciprocal dance. Normally the center of the hyperbola is going to be at the origin. The opposite side does not affect that center point. So we'll go ahead and plot that. Through the center, we'll draw the asymptotes with dotted lines. First the x-axis, the line y equals 0, and the y-axis, the line x equals 0. Those are our asymptotes or boundary lines. From this center point, we're going to plot 6 key points. Normally we go right 1, up 1, but because of the opposite of that 1, we're going to have to go down 1. Normally we would go right 2 and up a half, but because of the negative sign, we're going down a half. And right a half up 2 normally, but right half down 2 because of that opposite sign. In the second quadrant, left 1, up 1, normally it would be left 1, down 1, but again, because of the opposite of negative 1 is positive 1. Left 2, up a half, the opposite of negative 2 is positive 2, and the reciprocal of that is a half. And left a half, up 2, the opposite of negative a half is positive a half, and reciprocal of that is 2. We'll connect the points with 2 branches of a hyperbola. So there's our graph. Comparing that to the parent function, you can see that those 2 functions are not the same, so this function is not even. If we look at y equals the opposite of f of x, which is negative 1 over x, you can see that f of opposite of x and the opposite of f of x are identical, and that means that the 1 over x function is an odd function. Second way, using a table. These are our 6 values that we usually like to plot. So 1 over the opposite of x, we'll use the same x values. When x is 2, 1 over the opposite of 2 is negative 2, 1 over negative 2, so that's negative a half, so 2 comma negative a half. 1 over the opposite of 1 is negative 1. 1 over the opposite of a half is negative 2. 1 over the opposite of a negative a half would be 1 over a half, which is positive 2. When x is negative 1, 1 over the opposite of that negative 1 is positive 1. And when x is negative 2, 1 over the opposite of negative 2, it leaves you with 1 half. So negative 2 comma 1 half. Draw the asymptotes, the boundary lines for the curve, and connect the points. Compare that to the parent function. You can see that those are not equal. Bring in y equals the opposite of f of x, and you can see that those 2 are identical. The green and the brown ones are identical, and that makes the reciprocal function an odd function.